was born in Hungary, and despite that, he never learned to speak the language. He would go back to Hungary and he would speak French with a translator. But despite this, he always felt a tremendous patriotism for the place he came from, for Hungary. And this piece is a memorial for the aborted Hungarian Revolution of 1848 and 49, which was crushed by the Habsburgs. And many of his friends were soldiers and generals on the Hungarian side, and they perished. And this piece is an elegy from them, for them. And this piece is very rich with imagery. Lizst himself would often give images for his pieces, and I see some very distinct ones in this piece. It begins very dramatically with what sounds like giant bells. Bells, I think, over an empty battlefield. And when I started learning this piece, the place that came to mind was Gettysburg, which I visited on a school trip, and there was this dramatic austerity to it. And I think that since it's something more local, it's an association we can use to get into this piece. So the bells start like this. Some smaller bells, perhaps. And this goes on for a while as a kind of an introduction to the piece. Then we have what sounds to me like a kind of a gypsy funeral march. It starts almost nothing. It's very mournful, but it has a bit of this gypsy lilt to it. And it continues in different instruments, maybe. And then it breaks out into this aria. It's almost like an operatic aria. One of the things that Lizst was really influenced by was Italian opera. Bellini, Donizetti in Paris in the 1830s. And part of what he did with the piano was he tried to make the piano a more vocal instrument, to make it sound like grand opera. And this part sounds like... as if the sun just comes out for a little bit. And then there's this militaristic sounding march, and I hear these drums. And then these very long military trumpets from that period. And it's as if he's saying that you can't crush Hungary. We will rise up again and be our own country one day. So this is a very patriotic piece. And I just want to say another thing about Lizst, that I feel there's a stereotype about him. And it's partially true, actually, that he was almost like a rock star, and he just had these magnificently fast fingers, and it was just kind of a spectacle, but it was not very, very deep. And he had those concerts, I think, in the early part of his career, but he was a very complex man, and the whole time that he was becoming a famous virtuoso, he had this religious inclination, and even from his adolescence, he often wanted to become a priest or a Franciscan monk. And he's not 20 years old in this piece, or 30, he's getting to be in his 40s, and getting older. And as he aged, he performed less and less in public and spent much of his time in Rome. And he took minor orders and would even wear a priestly outfit. And I think that this piece comes out of that religious side of him. It doesn't have any of the pyrotechnics of some of his other pieces that are probably more famous in a way. So here's the piece.